Okay, so hello everyone. In this particular video series, we'll be actually looking at a very fundamental part of algorithm section, that is sorting algorithms. So we'll be studying what are different sorting algorithms that are available. Why should we actually first of all study sorting algorithms? Then we'll be hovering over to of specifying a more formal definition of what sorting actually is. So let's just first complete these two tasks and then we can then hover over to the different points. So first one being what actually sorting is. So sorting is nothing but I would say a process of ordering a list of elements in a particular order. Either it can be ascending or descending. So let's say I have, let's take it as a list of numbers or a sequence of numbers, but it is not necessary that it has to be a list of numbers. It can be like it can be a struct or a simply an object with a particular key and all other relevant data. So we are actually going to sort these sequence of objects on the basis of the particular key that almost every, or I should say every object must have. So they will be having a key and all of the relevant data attached to this object. So we can basically sort all of these objects. So but for now time being, we are just taking, in order to explain the basic definition of sorting, we're just taking a sequence of numbers. So sorting in a layman language would mean ordering of these sequence of numbers in a particular order, which can be either ascending or descending. So like this particular order when sorted will give us 1 2 3 4 simply 8 and 10. So this is what goes in as input to our sorting algorithms, and this is what we get as an output from our sorting algorithm. So you must have got a very layman definition of sorting by now. So the next thing that we need to look at is that why should we study sorting algorithms? So actually sorting is a very fundamental problem in algorithms, and sorting is actually being used by many complex algorithms as well. So let's say the graphics that are being rendered on your screen right now, so graphics rendering algorithms actually uses sorting as a subroutine or a subtask. And you must have seen in like many e-commerce websites as well, you can like sort by price or sort by, let's say, date of manufacturing. So so all I want to state is that sorting is actually being used in many ways, and it actually also makes more complex tasks easier. So let's take the example of searching. Searching when done on an unsorted list will usually take more time than when we actually sort that particular list and then apply binary search on it. So we actually used sorting as a subtask in order to make our searching more fast. So that is why we study algorithms, because that is why we study sorting, because it actually simplifies many other things, many other algorithms, and it makes the other algorithms more fast. So after having got the answer to why study sorting, we'll be now hovering over to our next point, which is to state a formal definition of sorting. So in order to state a formal definition of sorting, any algorithm, it can be like any algorithm, takes an input and then gives us an output. So the algorithm, sorting algorithms generally take an input as a sequence of elements. A sequence of these elements can be numbers, alphabets, or any random objects with some keys and other data in it. So these sequence of elements can be A1, A2, A3 and so on to AN. Okay, so we provide an an input to our sorting algorithm, this sequence of elements, and what we get as an output is another permutation of these sequence of elements only. So we get as an output as is a permutation, or rather I would say reordering of the input sequence numbers, which is nothing but this only. But the new sequence that we are getting, we are naming it as A1 dash, A2 dash, A3 dash. They will have a particular order. So that particular order is that A1 dash would be less than or equal to A2 dash, and A2 dash would be less than or equal to A3 dash, and so on. So this is actually a formal definition of sorting algorithm. So all the sorting algorithms will take in as input a sequence of elements. This is the sequence of elements that they will take in as input, and now they will apply some reordering of these sequence of elements, and they will give us a new sequence, or reordered sequence I would rather say. Now this reordered sequence has a particular property, which is that A1 dash is always less than equal to A2 dash, and A2 dash is less than equal to A3 dash, and so on. So this is how we state sorting in a more formal way. So now discussing over the next point, which is now we'll be discussing a more of a brute force sorting algorithm. So like in later videos we'll be able to construct more sorting algorithms, or have a look at more sorting algorithms which are far more efficient than the brute force sorting algorithm that we are going to discuss right now. Okay, so brute force sorting algorithm says is that based upon the formal definition of my sorting algorithms, my output is nothing but a permutation of my input. So let's say if I have this, if I take this example of that this is my input and this is my output, and my output would be another sequence which will be nothing but a permutation of this, right? So this goes on here, this goes on here, this one is here, this one is here, this goes on here, and this goes in here. So my output is nothing but a permutation of my input sequence of elements. So brute force algorithm says is that find out all the permutations of this input sequence, all the permutation of this input sequence, and you test all of those permutations. So in this case, if I have A1, A2, A3 to AN, so I can have at all these positions, so I can have a total of n factorial permutation of this input sequence. So here I can here I have n number of options. A1 can come in here, A2 can come in here, A3 can come in here, or AN can come in here. So here I have n number of options, and here I'll be having n minus 1 number of options, because the one which will be taking or will be sitting at this place won't be able to participate as a candidate over for this place. So basically in a nutshell to say, there are total n factorial number of permutations that I have which are possible for this given input sequence. Now out of these n factorial permutation that I am generating, I can one by one test them all, whether the new generated sequence is a sorted one or not. So if I have to take an example, so a permutation of this particular input sequence can be this also, right? and there can be like many other permutations for the same. So what I'll do is that I'll keep generating all the permutations of my input sequence, and I'll keep checking if this particular permutation is in sorted order or not. So because this is not, I'll compare this element with this element. Okay, this is smaller, this is greater, this is fine till now, this is also fine, this is also fine, this is also fine. But when I compare these two elements, I'll come to know that this particular element should have been here, because 8 is greater than 5. So this is discarded. Same way I'll keep discarding more and more permutations until and unless I'll come over a permutation which is of this form. So basically this brute force sorting algorithm takes in order of n factorial time, which is actually a way too much and is not really a recommended one. So as we go along, we'll be taking or we'll be looking at more sorting algorithms which will be much faster, but just to give it a taste that we can have a brute force sorting algorithm as well. So now we'll be listing all the sorting algorithms that are available. So but the thing is that okay, let me just scroll down. Okay, so basically all the sorting algorithms that I have in my bucket list, all the sorting algorithms can mainly be categorized into two types. One is the comparison based sorting algorithms. Comparison based sorting algorithms, and the other one being non-comparison based, or we can simply term it as linear sorting algorithms. So what is the main distinguishing factor? So we state comparison based sorting algorithms. What are comparison based sorting algorithms and what are non-comparison based sorting algorithms? So comparison based sorting algorithms are the one which do not put any kind of restriction, which do not put any kind of restriction on the data values that can be present in the data set. Restriction on the data values that can be present in a data set. So what do I actually mean by this point is that, let's say I have a data set which consists of a sequence of numbers. Now I'm not putting any restriction on the sequence of numbers that let's say if I'm saying that the numbers can only be between say 1 to 99, then I'm putting some kind of restriction on the data that can be present in my input sequence list. But in comparison based sorting algorithms we do not put any kind of restrictions like such, but in linear sorting algorithms we do put restrictions on data values that can be a part of input sequence dataset, input sequence dataset, or the sequence of numbers. So why do we actually put that restriction in linear sorting algorithms, and why don't we put any kind of restriction in comparison based sorting algorithms? Is that in linear sorting algorithms what we want is that apart from the comparisons that we do in comparison based algorithm, in any sorting algorithms, I would rather say, we extract any information by comparing two numbers. So let's say if I have A1 and A2, then in my final list, A1 should come before A2 and A2 should come after A1 only in the case A1 is less than equal to A2, right? So A1 can come over here, anywhere over here, and A2 can come anywhere over here. So by doing this comparison, we are making or extracting this information that in my final sequence, output sequence, A1 will come first and then A2 will come after this. So in comparison based sortings, we only make these kind of comparisons to extract any kind of information on the ordering of the elements. On the ordering of the elements, we extract or we do only comparisons. We make decisions only based on the comparisons. So we extract information only based upon the comparisons. But in linear sorting algorithm, by putting some restrictions on our data values, we are actually extracting out more information than just doing comparisons between two elements. So if I'm like putting up restriction that my set of input sequence can only consist of numbers between 1 to 99. So I'm putting that restriction based upon which I can like extract out different information about different elements. So comparison based sorting, so in comparison based sortings, if I list down all the comparison based sorting algorithms, then they would come out to be as this particular list. So under comparison based sorting, will be starting bubble sorting algorithm, then will be coming over to selection sort, and then we'll be starting insertion sort, and then we'll be starting merge sort, quick sort, heap sort, and but if we like look at these comparison based sortings where we don't put any kind of restriction or on our input elements, this bubble sorting and selection sorting are generally of not much importance to us. So if we like move over to the industry and over to the professional sorting algorithms, they generally don't really use these two sorting algorithms, and they generally tend to use these sorting algorithms in many of the cases. So if we look at the libraries which are like implemented for Python or C, C++ or Java, then they'll mainly be using these, a combination of these sorting algorithms only, a combination or a modification of these sorting algorithms only, and they would hardly be using bubble sort or selection sort. Now we'll be discussing as to why they mainly use these sorting algorithms only and why not these two. So we'll be able to discuss it once we have discussed the sorting algorithms. So now moving over to the linear sorting algorithms, we'll be discussing mainly counting sort, radix sort, and bucket sort. Okay, fine. So now moving over to our last question before wrapping up this lecture. So we have to look at our last question, which is that which sorting algorithm should I use in different situations? So which sorting algorithm is best suitable in different situations? So in order to answer this, that we might want to use different algorithms in different situations. So different situation that might arise is that depending upon a few of the factors that can affect our choosing of different sorting algorithm is that if our number of items in our input sequence is more or less. So let's say if my data set is very huge, then I might want to use a different sorting algorithm, and if my data set is very, let's say, small, then in that case I might want to use insertion sort, and if my data set is large, then I might want to use quick sort. So this is an example that I'm giving, but later on we'll be discussing them in details. So depending upon we can have a few more other factors that depending upon the pre-sortedness factor. Pre-sortedness factor. So what is this pre-sortedness factor? If my sequence of numbers are majorly in sorted order, then I might want to use a different sorting algorithms because my pre-sortedness factor would be high, and in case my input sequence pre-sortedness factor is very less, then I might want to use a different sorting algorithm. So what pre-sortedness factor is that? Let's take the example of this. So in this particular sequence, it is like almost sorted, so its pre-sortedness factor is quite high. But if I take an example of, let's say, this input sequence, then in this case my pre-sortedness factor is very low. So what I mean to say is that it is like mostly sorted and it is very less sorted. So depending upon that, we might want, if my pre-sortedness factor is very high, then I might want to use insertion sort, or in other case I might want to use merge sort or quick sort or any other sorting. So depending upon my number of items that are present in my input sequence, and depending upon the pre-sortedness factor, and there are like many other factors. So another factor that is possible is that if we have a possible restrictions, if we have a possible set of restrictions on our input elements, restriction on our input elements, then I might want to use a linear sorting algorithm, which is counting sort. In that case, if I'm like, let's say I'm putting a restriction that my numbers generally lie between 1 to 100, then in that case I might want to use counting sort, because that way it will be more fast. Okay, and other few possible factors can be that whether my main memory size or my external size of my storage device is good enough to store all my data set or not. So if my size of storage device, that is my size of main memory, is good enough to hold all of my data set, all of my input sequence or not. In case my memory is very less, main memory is very less, then I might go with what is known as the external sorting algorithms, right? And if I can keep all my data set within my main memory all at once, then I might go with internal sorting algorithms. So there are like a huge number of factors on which my selection of a particular sorting algorithms depends. So because like I'm having a huge number of factors, so what we do is that we classify our sorting algorithms based upon a number of properties. So we actually tend to classify all our sorting algorithms based upon a set of properties, based upon a list of set of properties. Now these set of properties we'll be discussing in our next lecture. So depending which sorting algorithm is having which property, then we might decide upon whether we want to choose that particular sorting algorithm in which case. So if let's say I have a sorting algorithm which is an in place, or let's just discuss this set of properties for classifying sorting algorithms in next lecture. Okay,